All right. Welcome to Adventures in Code number 1. This is a series where I am going to be attempting to code something in Python. Now, what I've been working on is learning HTML and CSS because I never really got taught that in school. But today is not about that. Today is going back to building projects in Python, which I've done a long time ago. So it's going to be very interesting to get started with it. But basically, we'll just start here. So I want to make the simplest project I can really make that's not like Hello World, because that's fairly easy. But it's been a long time since I've touched Python, so I want to start small and regain my confidence, and I'm inviting you guys to watch my journey. So I'm using Atom as my text editor. I don't know why specifically. I've just had a lot of good experience with it. It's very nice, very clean. It doesn't feel bloated or anything like that. So, to my knowledge, I don't know. So when you're starting, you're going to want to set it to the kind of code you're using. So Python grammar here. And before we do anything, I want to lay out what the project is. So to comment in Python, this is how we comment. And I'm going to say, let's see. I think what I want to do is I want to write a very simple script for finding how many words are, what's the most popular word in a series of texts. Basically, in my writing, I want to know what words I use the most. All right, so that's what we want to build. So now we got to think about how we want to build it. I'm not a particular, I don't have a particular way I want to build this. I'm not focusing on being absolutely efficient. That doesn't matter to me right now. What matters is just building it, but having a fairly clean architecture or layout for it. So what we would want to do is we would want to collect files from a folder. I'm not going to search the whole computer. That would take a while. So I want to collect files from a folder, the text files. Then what I want to do is I would want to read through each file and I want to tally a list. And I'm not saying specifically the Python data type list, but in general, in a very generalized term, we want to keep a list of what words we use the most. So make list, say and make list of most used words. And this is something that I'm sure I've done before in the past a long time ago and probably could do very quickly, but now that it's been so long, it's going to be going back to basics a little bit. And I'm just going to show you the process because I think that it'll be kind of interesting to see how helpful Google can be as well. And I'm going to be Googling lots of stuff. I don't remember exact syntax for how to do certain things. So let's start. We've got Google open here. Also, I think this is a fairly good, very simple outline. You probably want to make it a little more in depth about how you're going to do each step. But for today, I'm just going to get there when I get there, and I'm just going to start as soon as possible, just starting at the beginning. So we're going to start at this step, collecting files from a folder. So how to open files from folder in Python. Google's a pretty nice, there we go. So we're opening all the files. Well, I guess we can open all the files in a directory. Okay, some Unix permission information here. Is this the best way to do this? I don't remember doing it quite like this. Not that we have to do it how I remember it, but here, this is a fairly good tutorial, I think. So, all right. I'm using Windows, so the path name is going to be written in a backslash. I don't really, not worried about handling both cases. Right. Not too worried. I guess. I guess this makes it kind of simple. I mean, we could write it just for Windows, but if this gets us where we need to go, then that's just fine. So let's. We just really want to open files in Python. There's a lot of information here, and I just want something very simple. Okay, so it's very simple, I guess. I think we need to import OS though, because we're going to be using the operating system. All right. I really want to read every single file in a directory. This is a fairly easy thing to do. I don't know why it's going to take us a while, but or just how to get a list of them anyway. Here we go. This looks a bit more familiar. I really want to open all the files in the directory. So as you can see, sometimes coding takes a while. I don't know how far we are into this recording, but like we're already kind of slowing down here. So what I'm going to do actually, just because I'm kind of a cheater, is I'm going to go to my GitHub because I've done this before and I want to do it the way I did it. So we're going to look at an old script I wrote. Okay, I want to sign in. Sign in. Yep, thanks. All right. So when I actually was able to do stuff that was meaningful, we're going to open, I think, my sample scrape. Actually, no, this will be I wrote a script to kill small files. That'll be better. Okay. So, I guess it really isn't that hard to do. It was just hard to find the information. A lot of times it's hunting around for the right tool to use. But, all right, so let's go ahead and just use this information. So our directory is going to be OS, and we're going to list our directory. I don't know what get CWD means. I'm kind of curious. I guess it's for path names. but I'll get current working directories probably. Yeah, okay. So, all right, so we're gonna list the directory. So now the directory is a list, which is really nice. Thank God Python's like this. Now this is where it's gonna be a little different here, because we're not gonna be looking at the size of a file and deleting it. I'm going to be going through each file and making a list of the most used words in it. Now, for today, we're just going to assume that the file is a text file. Obviously, if it's another kind of file, we're probably going to run into some serious problems, and we can work on that later. But for today, we're going to go through each file in the directory, and we're going to do something with it. We're going to make a list of the most used words. So now it comes time to think about how we want to do this. And if you're trying to be as efficient as possible, well, it'll take longer to think about it, I think. But today's goal is just to get going. So let's see. So for each file in our directory, we're going to read through the file, and then we are going to look for each word, and if there's a repeated occurrence of a word, we're going to increment a value, basically. And so you can choose a data structure for this. I used to be kind of clunky and make lists of lists, which I think is fun, but it's not efficient. What's probably efficient is a dictionary. So how a dictionary works, I don't know what to use for this. Maybe this site. All right, so a dictionary has basically, all right, so the dictionary has a key and an item that's paired with that key, which is kind of an interesting data type. I think it'll suit our purpose well, because for each word, we want to print the number of times that it occurs, and so we can increment the key could be the word, and the integer, the number of times that it occurs, could be a number, and that is paired with the word. So you'll have a key pair essentially. So let's outline what we want to do here. So for each file in the directory, we want to open the file, read each word. If the word already exists in our dictionary, increment. Increment. Let's see what it's technically considered. We want to increment our value. It's key and value in the dictionary. So we're going to want to increment the value of key pair. If the word is not in our dictionary, we want to add it, add the key, and give a value of 1. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully I'll get better at explaining what I'm doing as I continue to code. This is just, it's going to be rough because it's been a while, like quite a while. Okay, so we'll also put this up here, our dictionary. This is for later use, but to create a dictionary, we'll do this, and we'll use these symbols, and boom, we have our dictionary. So that's an empty dictionary. Now, working with the dictionary is different. There's a lot of different ways to do this, but we're just going to consider adding elements to a dictionary. Perfect. Okay, so one value at a time can be added to a dictionary by defining value along with the key. Updating an existing value can be done using the update method. Okay. So we're not really doing this. All right, so we know kind of what we want to do, but let's work our way down the structure here. So what we want to do is open a file. That's like the first thing we need to get done right now. So for each file in the directory, we want to open it. I'm tabbing over because I've created a loop here, and every action right here is going to happen inside of the loop. So let's go back to the script I wrote. We're not really opening any file there. That's okay. I'm going to look at another script that I wrote. It's pretty messy. It doesn't really matter. We want to open stuff. These are some functions that don't matter right now. Okay, here's my file stuff. All right, so basically, we can use the with terminology, which I guess is safer. I think it closes the file automatically. So we'll say with open, and then our file name, which over here is citations.txt, for example. We're going to replace that, and I think we can do it with the file variable, but maybe not. We'll find out. We're going to open it in reading mode, and we're going to call it, we've already used the term file, and I don't know if we can use it again. We'll just call it current file. So we're going to open this, and I just want to print it, essentially. So I'm not sure what file operation I want to be using right now. Is it like, can I do that? I don't know. If I just wanted to print it out to the, I guess I could just print current file. We're gonna see what happens, okay? So we're gonna save this in a new folder on the desktop, and we'll call it Python word count project. Put it up here, and we'll save it as count.py. All right. Now to run something, it's been a while, so I'll just make sure I have the right version of Python installed. We do. We have Python 3.72. So now we're going to navigate to our directory. We're in it. We're going to, right now, the only thing in the directory is that. So what we're going to have to do is make some random text files. And that shouldn't be too hard for us to do right now. So we'll go ahead and we're just gonna open, some files here. So it's pretty simple. Let's test one, another one called test two, and test one. I'm just gonna say like the happy bunny jumped into the fast approaching river. See, bunny's okay. Mind you word. All right, and test two. I'm gonna say, what is the what what? Because what will be the most common word? Like, this would be a pretty easy test. Obviously, I want to use this on my own writing and figure out some really interesting and cool things, but for today, that's not our goal. And also, we just want to open the files and print them to the screen. I'm sure there's going to be a problem with our script, but let's go ahead and try and run it. Okay. I guess we are technically printing something. We're not really printing it how this is probably an error to do with, well, it's not really an error, but we're not printing what I want to see, right? I think the current file is an object that's this io.text io wrapper thing. That's what it is, and we don't really want to print that so much as we want to print the contents of the file. So, how did we do that? This is embarrassing because I used to do this all the time. It's amazing how much, if you don't practice, here we go. I think it's just file.read. Yeah. Amazing if you don't practice and really lose some skill. So let's try that. It's a lot of trial and error. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Wait a minute. What just happened? Oh yeah, it's also reading the Python script that is in there, which is kind of funny. It's opening itself. That's actually a little bit dangerous. So let's, because we're going to be doing some interesting things with this. So yeah, the script worked quite well. As you can see, it opened itself. And that's not really what we want to have happen. So we only want to open text files, not just anything. So we want to say if the file is a text file, that yeah, here we go. We'll say only open the file if it is a text file. How are we going to accomplish this? Well, text files end in .txt, usually. I mean, there's files with text that are other extensions, but we're only worried about that right now. So we're going to say if it's been a while since we even used an if statement. Isn't that sad? It's like the most fundamental part of Python. I just forget if it's like bracketed or not. I guess it's not. You just say if, and that's it. That's crazy. Okay, so I think we can use ends with. Is it? Well, we're working. There's a lot of ways you can go about doing something in Python. We're just going to say if file. Let's see. We can search. There's two ways to do this. Two big ways. One, I could search how is it supposed to be done. Like if the file ends with something, or how to only open files that end in .txt. That's one way to do it. But there are perhaps ways that I could look and think about it a little bit more. Like, oh, I'm going to figure out like, oh, okay, if a file ends with .txt, that's how I think I should do it, you know. But we're just going to go ahead and do it the lazy way, because we want to learn to do it the right way, or at least the efficient way. Yep. All right. can filter them by their extension. Oh boy, looks like we're using some interesting stuff here. Okay, so there is this thing called ends with, and that's what I thought. We're just going to try this. We're just going to say if file dot ends with .txt. If that's the case, we want to open the file. So because this action is dependent on the if statement, we're going to tab it over underneath it. So let's try that. Beautiful. Okay, so that worked. That was actually fairly quick. So we did not, this is where the newest run happened, just right here. And as you can see, we did not include our own script in the opening of we didn't open our own program, which is good, because that way we're not gonna, it probably wouldn't cause any issues, but it's just not really what I want to have happen. So this is good. So now we're only opening text files, and as we open it, we read it to the screen. So that's great. We now have the file. So this is pretty good. Let's keep going. All right, so when I say read each word, what I'm talking about is parsing each word and then adding it to a dictionary. Now, to parse a word or to parse a string like this or a file, I think it's nice to be able to just add things. Oops, I don't know what we're doing there. It's nice to be able to just break apart a giant string of text and put it in a list. And I've done that many times before. And split usually accomplishes this. We can make sure of its documentation though. So we'll say Python split. Now, could I just willy-nilly try this? Sure, but I want to make sure that it works properly. So the split method splits a string into a list. You can specify the separator, and the default separator is white space, and that'll be just fine because that is how our files are set up. I just use simple spaces in between my thes, so it's going to recognize each the or what as its own element. So instead of printing the current file to the screen, we're still wanting to read it in, but we want to split it. Now, to make this a little bit easier to read, we're going to say our text is our current file that we're reading in, and then our list of words is going to be text.split. So this is going to return a list of words, and we can print our list of words just to verify that we have a list. So let's go ahead and try that. And there we go. We have all of our words in the list. Two different lists. There will be a list for each file. So, all right. So we have each word in a list now. That's what's happening here. Now, what's interesting here is that when I'm printing a list of words, that list, it's being recreated each time. So the first loop, we go through, we open the file, we read it, split it into a list of words, and we print that. So that it prints this, and then it goes to the next one, and it's writing over the data for a list of words and printing it again. So it's not saved. I don't have two separate lists, which is fine because we're going to be adding it to our dictionary each time, so I can overwrite the list, but I just want to clarify that that's what's happening in this script. So now that we have this, we don't need to print our list of words anymore. With our list of words, we want to add it to our dictionary. Now this is where it gets a bit interesting. So we're going to add words to dictionary. Okay. Now to iterate over a list, we did this earlier because directory is technically a list. We're just going to say for word in list of words. So for each word in this list, we are going to do something with it. And in this case, it's adding it to the dictionary. So if it was that simple, that we're just adding to a dictionary, let's find our, I opened something about dictionaries. Yeah. Not enough RAM. I have to reopen the tabs here. Okay. So adding an element to a dictionary. Where is adding an element? Did we go past it? There we go. So adding elements one at a time, it shows you can specify the element and what we're adding. But yeah, we just want to simply add, let's just say we want to add each word in this list to a dictionary, our dictionary up here. All right. I think that we can just, I'm trying to figure out the best way to add an element to a dictionary one at a time. Because I don't want to use it the way they're showing me. Dictionary methods. So I think the update method is what I want to use. All right, so let's see it in action here. Updation, didn't know it was a word. Okay. I'm not sure if this is what I want. No, I don't want to update with a dictionary. I want to update with an item. An iterable? Is that what I want? See, this is where it gets a little tricky. We don't have to use a dictionary. That's fine. But I thought it would work well because I don't know why I thought it would work well. We don't have to use a dictionary. Instead, we can use a set. That sounds kind of fun. What's cool about a set, which is why this will work for us, it'll keep this thing a little bit safer, is that it doesn't have any duplicate elements, so that works for us. We don't want duplicate words. When we have one, we're going to change the number associated with it. And we can just cast set on anything, which is kind of cool. Oh, but actually, okay. We're gonna take a step back here. Actually, no, because if I do that, it's just gonna get rid of it. It's not going to keep track of it or anything. So we don't actually want to use a set in this instance. There might be a way to use it productively, but I do still want to use the dictionary. So yeah, I just want to add key pair to dictionary. That should be a pretty easy thing to do. I don't know why it's not jumping out at me as obvious. on here. Okay. I guess you just simply do it like this. We'll just try it. You know, it's just been a long time, and it just seems like this is too easy, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it is. So, all right, for each list in our list, for each word in a list of words, we're going to put that word in the dictionary, and we're going to give it a value, which is how many times it appears. And for default, we're just going to say 1, and I want to see what happens, like if this crashes or not. Okay, I guess it didn't. All right, so let's go ahead and do both actual use cases now. So we're going to say right here, what if the word already exists in our dictionary? That's something we need to check. Are there really smart ways to check this? Yeah. Do I know them? No. So we're probably going to use an if statement, something like that. So we're going to say if we want to check if something's in a dictionary. How do we do that? Dictionary methods. All right, so get. Okay. All right. I think that's what we want. So if dictionary.get word, so if there's that word, if that's a key in the dictionary, then we want to do something. We want to increment the key pair. And if it's not there, we will skip this step and add it later on. So let's say that there's already the word in our dictionary. Now we want to increment the value of the key. So we're gonna well, we can update it with a value pair, but we want specifically to just update that key. So I think we can do it like this. All right, we're gonna reset whatever it was, whatever the key. We want to take the last value and increment it by 1. Now, to do that, we need to access the value, which I guess if it was null or non-existent, this might crash, and we'll figure that out as we go. But the thought process here is we get our word, which is we're getting the value from word. So our word is the key, and we're getting the value, which should be like null or nothing. I'm actually kind of curious. I want to see what it looks like. Print is a useful statement. All right, so we're gonna print it and see what it looks like. Or actually, no, sorry, we're gonna print that, and yeah, let's just do that for now. Let's just see what the hell happens. Okay. So for a word in a word list, if it already exists in the dictionary, which it wouldn't yet because we haven't added anything, it would print it. Let's do that later. All right. So this step might fail later on, but we're going to need to do this step to get any headway here. So this is if the word is not in the dictionary. What are we going to do? Let's move things up a little bit here. So if our word is not in the dictionary, we want to add it and give it a value. And that's actually really easy. So we're just going to say dictionary word, and we're going to give it the value of 1 because the first time we found a word. So let's run this now. Okay, so we are we've had 6 different times where the word was already in the dictionary, and so we're printing the value of it, which is 1, which is great. That's what I wanted to see. So we want to update the value now. I wonder if I can just update the value or if I have to update the entire key pair. I think you need to update the entire key pair, unfortunately, which is fine. So if the dictionary already has that word, we want to take the value of get.word. So we're going to say this is our previous value equals get, right. All right, so this just says if there is a value for this key, and then this says assign that value to the variable previous value. After we assign that variable or that value to previous value, we're going to make a new value, which is going to be our previous value plus 1. And then we want to, we're going to set our dictionary word to the new value. All right, and now we'll try running this. No complaints. But now what we want to do is essentially print the dictionary. And to do this, I wonder if I can just print it. I think so. So we've done all this now, and we want to look at everything afterwards. So after all is said and done, we want to print our dictionary. All right, that did not work, but that's part of the fun. So it says that there's only one occurrence of each thing, which is not true. So wonder what's happening. Let's debug. So let's just go through again what we're doing. For each word in our list, we checked if that word was a key in the dictionary, and if it was, we did stuff. If it wasn't, ooh, wait a minute. Okay, here's our problem. So essentially, we only want this last step to happen if it doesn't already exist. So that's going to be an else statement, and that might solve our issue here. No. If an else statements. Yeah, it's just not conditions. The reason I was confused here for a second is because in this if statement, this is our condition, and so our little colon goes after that, and in the else statement, there is no condition. It's just if the if doesn't happen, and so our colon goes right there. It's not dependent upon anything. All right, and boom, very nice. Okay, so I guess I used the 4 times. Let's make sure that's correct. The 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. But then we also used it here, so that is correct. So we used each 4 times, the and what. So that is doing what we want to do. Now, because we want to see the most used word, we want to order the dictionary. I know there's ways to do this. I devised a way of ordering a dictionary that was pretty unorthodox back in the day. I'm not sure where it is right now. It might not be in this this script, but there's smarter ways to do it, which is just an ordered dictionary. I think that's what it's called. Dictionary, yeah. All right, so an ordered dictionary in Python is a dictionary subclass that remembers that the keys. Oh, we're not really looking at the insertion order. We're just wanting to order it by the highest value, which is a good problem to solve. So let's focus on how we would do that without just looking it up here. So we want our words that have the highest value. So our word is our key, and our value is the number of times they occur. We want the ones with the highest value to be displayed to us first when we're printing this off. So this is a tricky thing because there's a lot of ways you could do this, but you want to think about the smart way to do it. And I'm not sure what the smartest way to do this is. So I think we can iterate over a dictionary. But we want to check on how that's done well. All right, the basics. Python, the dictionary, they're mapping objects, blah, blah. We don't need to look at that right now. All right, so we can use a for loop with the dictionary, and for each key in the dictionary, we could print it, look at it, and then what we could do is no. So many things that we could do. We want to do the smartest thing here. Basically, we just want to, I want to print to the user the most used words in that order. I'm not really terribly concerned about putting it into another data type or another structure, although we could do that. That's not really my goal. And I also want to print how many times it occurred. So to do this, we're going to say for the key, which is the word. So for word in dictionary. All right, so for each word, what do we want to do? We want to get the value and order it. Now, there's a lot of nice ways to order things in Python, like a lot of nice methods, instead of having to develop your own little sorting algorithm. And so I think, let's see, I think it's probably a list. A list method, Python. It's probably a method on a list. And there's a lot, which is nice and handy, because we don't always want to mess around with that. There's also, I feel like there should be a dictionary method for this, but there's not. Not to my knowledge. It's just the sort method, I believe. We'll just try this. Sort list Python. All right. Ascending by default. All right. So yeah, we can sort a list. Can we sort a dictionary? That would be interesting. I guess. Yeah. I didn't know this. See, my mind's all over the place. Like, there's a lot smarter, cleaner ways to do this, but that's not the point. The point is to develop it yourself. I don't really want to display things alphabetically. They do not spell dictionary, right? I guess that's fine. Okay, so there's a really easy way to do it that I'm kind of seeing here. I guess you can just call sorted on whatever you want, which is interesting. I think anyway. I think that's the way it goes. So I'm not really, I don't know exactly what they're doing here, but it's giving me some inspiration to see this sorted thing. So let's just make a random iterator. We can use I, it's pretty standard. We'll use sorted. I don't know if it's going to work. And we're going to sort the dictionary by values. And I don't remember if we can do this or not. Let's just try it. I don't know if that's going to work at all. We're going to try to sort it by values and print each one. We're going to print the we can print I, but we also want to print the value. We're gonna see what happens here. I don't know here exactly what's going to go happen. Dictionary methods. I know I had it open somewhere. I don't know why. I don't know where it is now, but spelling dictionary is surprisingly hard to do quickly. All right. So I just want to return So apparently we're sorting the values. I don't really. That's probably not what we want. Because no, I don't think this is gonna work. I'm gonna abandon this approach instead. Let's think about it on our own and stop googling it. So we know that there's a key pair, and we want to sort it by its value. To do that, we're going to need to access each value, and you want to put it somewhere, right? So you essentially want to move both of them around. And this is just the hard part about ordering a dictionary. And you can use order dict, I know that, but we're just going to search ordering a dictionary by value. Oops, value. All right. So here's what's interesting. What did they say? Yeah, we're really using lambda and crap here that I don't really want to mess with right now. Apparently in new Python you can, but let's do it the old way because I remember not being able to do it. It's not possible to sort a dictionary. They're orderless. So I guess we are using sorted, and then items. Item getter 1, I'm not really sure what that is. I want it as simple as possible, absolutely. I don't want to import anything either. All these methods are fine, but they kind of require that you know what like a lambda is, and I think that we should do it differently. We're going to have to do it on our own. All right. So we're going to accomplish this very efficiently. It's not even spelt right. And I like that because it's not efficient. All right. Because I want to do it on my own and not rely on this, especially when I don't understand exactly what they're talking about. Let's not worry about efficiency. Let's just worry about getting the task done. So I want to print to the user both the key and how many times it appears, but I want it to be ordered. Now I can sort a list, right? Pretty sure I can. Python, yeah, yeah. So we can sort a list. So we could we can what is this? We do want the reverse to be true. Let's see, sort them and then print them. Okay. Pretty easy to do with a list. So we could add all the values to a list and print that, but that would just print like 4, 4, 1, 1, 1, 1, etc. It would not print the words that go along with it. And that's a bit of the issue. So we don't just want to add our values to the list. We want to essentially add each key pair to a list and sort it based on the first element of that key pair. Well, or no, the value, the second element. So we want to sort it based on the value. So We could try that. So we're gonna make a list. We're gonna call it messy list. And we're going to I want to try to add each dictionary pair to the list as like a sublist. So I forget my list operations. I think it might be add, or I don't know. But we're gonna just do this for thing in dictionary. I think that's actually gonna be for key. I think that's the way it usually works. But it doesn't really matter. For each thing, say that's, well, no, let's use key. This is where it gets a little confusing. But for each key in the dictionary, I'm not going to worry about anything other than adding it to this list. I want to add the whole thing to messy lists. Is it add? Is that the function? I literally don't know. But I want to add the key and the value to the messy list together, but that has to be in its own little data structure. So it could be in a list. So let's do this. We're going to create a variable called temp list, and we are going to say temp list. The first element of that is going to be the dictionary. Well, I think we can just say the key. I think. And then, no. And then temp list 1, the second element, is going to be our dictionary dot get key. Yes. All right, so hopefully this makes sense. It might not, because it might not work. Let's just see if it compiles at all. No. List assignment index out of range. Really? Okay, why? Why is that out of range? I mean, I get the error, but I wonder why it happened. Still nothing notified. It's out of the list range. I don't quite understand. You can't assign value to a list position if it doesn't exist yet. Oh, we're gonna use the append function. Okay. We'll try that. That's weird. I thought you could just do it, but maybe you can't do it like I thought you were doing it. Let's see if this works without complaint. Okay, so that looks like it didn't get mad at us. So we're adding two things to the temp list. We can keep in mind that this is element 0 and this is element 1 of the temp list. So now we have this little list. And we're going to take this little list and shove it inside of the big messy list. So we're going to append temp lists to it. All right. So now, for each key in the dictionary, we have created a little list, and we have appended the key and the this should be the value, and you know what? Just because we're gonna see if we can print temp list each time and verify what we're doing. Okay, so that's good. That's what we want. I'm a little bit mad at myself because I feel like there's a way better way to do this, and I'm not doing it. Somebody watching this is going to be like, why have you taken so long? And, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not worried about it because, like, I don't know the tools well enough right now, and I can research them, but what's more important is being able to think your way through a problem. And so we can learn a better way to solve this later on, maybe, but I want to see if I can do it this way. So let's just clarify again what's happening. We have taken our items in the dictionary and put them into a bunch of little lists. These are all temporary lists that are being destroyed essentially and rewritten as I do this. But each time, we're going to add them to messy lists each time as well. So there's a list within a list. I don't know if that's efficient or not. Probably not. But there's a list within a list, and that's all right for now, I guess. So, yep, for each key in the dictionary, we're going to do that. Now, after we're done, I'm not going to iterate anymore. We have this messy list. We can go ahead and print it. And as you can see, it's a list of lists, which is what we want. Now that we have our messy list, what we want to do is sort the list. But I think what's going to happen is it's going to sort the list on the first element of each sublist, and we don't want that. We want to sort on the second element of each sublist. And one other really easy way to do this is just to do this, where I'm going to move this down. So our key is going to be the second element now. Go ahead and save. And as you can see, now it's that way. And so now, yeah, I can just do this. Okay, now we're going to try to print the sorted messy lists. That did not work. None. Okay. I wonder why that didn't work. Perhaps because it's not going to be able to sort something like this. We want to access the first element now of each one to sort the lists. Let's see. Now, the thing is, here's a random list of things. Hmm. Maybe I can do this. Let's see if this would work. So we're going to use messy lists, and we're going to sort, but we're going to use a key, which I'm going to say is take first. And we're going to define a function right up here, a bit messily, but take first, and we're going to pass in an element, I guess, and we'll say element 0. We could have left the order, I guess, and done element 1, but that's fine for now. So now we've sorted it, and now I want to try to print it. Let's see what happens. Not supported between instances of none type and none type. It's a type error. Alright, so it's not liking something we're doing with the types here. What could we do to sort it? Basically, we could take an element. Let's see, how would we sort this if we didn't have Python's nice little sort feature to do it for us? I feel like we should use Python's sorted feature, but having lists of lists is a little bit challenging to sort. So let's think. We have a list of lists, and we want to move those lists around in the big list based on the first element of each sublist. So what we would do is we would go to element 1, or element 0, sorry, of our main list, and we would get sub-element, or we would go to the sublist and get element 0 as well, and say that's 4 or something. And then we go to element 1 of the main list and get element 0 of element 1's main list, and, or element, it's gotten a bit complicated. Sorting it this way, doing it the way I did it is probably why it's a pain in the butt to sort, having a list of lists. But again, it wasn't super easy to display it any other way. Now, because this is kind of a dead end, we could look into sorting it in some other fashion, or not using this whole list of list things, because getting to this point was relatively easy. The harder part is just displaying it in the right order. That's really the only hard part here. So we could just search for a better way to do it, but every way that I've been searching for has used just methods that I didn't really want to use. Sort dictionary by value. I think we've kind of searched this before. Apparently it can be done. I don't know if this is just because of Python 3 or what, but using the sorted method, come on. You can sort the contents of a dictionary by value. Really? Is it that easy? I don't know if this is actually this easy or not. That would be really sad to me if it was. Just because I did all this work for nothing. But let's go back to this part where we just have our nice dictionary. I guess we can make a sorted dictionary. We want to reverse the order. I don't know if it's working at all, but all right. See what happens. Okay, well that's cool in that it does print the order that I want. Interesting, but I want to print the number of times as well. Perhaps I should do dictionary.items. They always use a lambda. Can we do this without that? Does it have to be done this way? All right, this basically accomplishes what I want, so that's fine. And it's returning a list of little sub-elements grouped together. I forget what data type this is considered. Is it a tuple? No, I'm not sure. So yeah, that accomplished our goal really. And this could be applied to pretty much any folder with any number of text files in it, and it could tell me my most used words. A year ago, I could have done this in like 10 minutes, so it's a little bit sad that it took me this long now, but it's been a good experience, I guess, being refreshed on it. It's hard not to feel dumb because the whole time I'm like, this should be going faster. This should be going much faster. Why am I going so slow? Why isn't there a better way to do this? With this whole program, I'm very confident that there are better ways to solve the problem. But we did solve the problem. I did what I set out to do. This script does what it's supposed to do. And that's nice. And it's not that long. I think one of the big things is just practice, I guess, but also finding really good solutions online and copying them isn't a bad idea, because like down here, I was going to start trying to sort it myself, and it's good for a computer scientist to know how to sort something, to build an algorithm to do it manually. But also, Python has built-in sort functions, and you're not going to want to do that all the time. And in fact, you're pretty much never going to want to do that because there are already built-in tools that you can use. So why would you want to reinvent the wheel every time? But it's still interesting to think about. So like, if you were going to sort something in real life, so you had, you know, just a list of things you wanted to sort, you can think about how would I actually do this, and you're basically just shuffling them about. There might be some kind of unconscious process that does it faster, but if you're just consciously doing it, the most basic way to create a sorting algorithm is to go element by element, compare elements, and then swap them over based on their value. And we could have done that. We could have created a for loop and gone through and sorted things, but it just would have kind of been inefficient and a waste of time. But this script does what it set out to do, and that's nice. I want to get rid of this and call it a day. Yeah, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, I doubt anyone would watch the whole thing. This took me way too long to do. What are we at? We're at an hour and 20 minutes just to create a little script to sort to find the most common word. However, I am very out of practice. And so I think that if I do this every day and keep doing it, I'll get a lot faster at doing what I want to do. It's just hard to start again, and you got to be able to be humble, I guess. And so, yeah, and not to be too hard on yourself. I guess if anyone else is watching this and they're a coder or somebody aspiring to try to begin to code or code again or whatever, and it's rough for them, don't be like me and beat yourself up because it's not worth it, and it's certainly not going to help anything. All right, so thanks for watching, and yeah, next time I'll try to do something a little bit more advanced and maybe a little bit better and faster. And honestly, the bulk of the time of this was just trying to order the dictionary, so I think that's kind of a victory.